Yes, as you can tell by the title, I honestly think that Llenn in Gun Gale Online is more OP than Kirito was. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed watching Gun Gale Online thoroughly, but as an avid fan and dedicated gamer of first-person shooters, or just shooters in general, there was a whole new level of bullshit in this show that I couldn't even fathom. So much so that there was enough for me to try to make a case as to why Lenn's in-game character is more broken than Kirito. Honestly though, I just wanted to talk about how broken of a game Gun Gale Online is. Allow me to preface this first by saying that hopefully this won't be considered as the ramblings of just a casual gamer. I'd like to think that my various experiences in the upper echelons of different shooters like Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, Destiny, or even Fortnite and Overwatch would give me some sense as to what can be considered balanced. And in Gun Gale Online, there's clearly no balance. Just a whole lot of what I would consider game-breaking mechanics. Like, a lot. So let's start with the most obvious. How the hell are you gonna make a game where the hitbox is dependent on the size of the avatar? Like, I understand for certain types of games. Say you're playing a tanky character, then yeah, your hitbox is generally gonna be bigger since you're wearing more armor, but can absorb more damage. Then vice versa, if you're going for a more agile build, then a compact lightweight character would make sense. But this is just a whole new extreme. Having an avatar that's literally small enough to hide behind the gun that they're shooting and then use it as a shield? Well, that's just not fair, especially since your avatar is actually based on RNG. There's numerous examples throughout the show where Llenn uses her avatar's size as a tactical advantage. I gave the first episode a pass with the suitcase thing because I thought it'd just be a one-off, you know, something over the top to keep everyone watching. But Llenn and Fuka's hitbox and avatar design actually saved them so many times in SJ2. To name a few, it was clearly helpful in avoiding shots, blending in with the environment, and closing the gap for some of that CQC. Kirito, on the other hand, had a relatively normal-sized avatar, so it's not like he was given an unfair advantage the moment he started the game. Well, other than just being Kirito. Then there was Lenn's absolutely absurd speed and agility, already classified as inhuman in episode 1 by the training soldiers. But I shit you not, seeing Llenn run around at Mach 5 with a knife in her hand just gave me some seriously stressful flashbacks of Marathon Lightweight Commando Pro from Modern Warfare 2. If you've ever had the pleasure of experiencing someone literally teleporting a few meters to instantly kill you, I'm sure that's what it'd feel like going against Llenn while she's carrying a knife. So not only is she smaller than everyone else, she's also faster, and to top it all off, she has enough strength to jump over a moving car. If all these are stats that are upgradable, then why doesn't anyone else have this type of build? Seems like running and gunning is the optimal strat since literally no one can hit their shots. But if it's also a built-in component with your character model, then yeah, that's pretty broken. I understand it's just an anime, but I can't see how you can have a competitive community surrounding a game where inherent advantages are given solely based on character design. When Kirito had participated in the Battle of Bullets, no character really had any of these inherent buffs. People's playstyles actually matched their builds and everything seemed a bit more fair. But now that the world of GGO is more fleshed out, we learn more of the game's mechanics and see just how much more they favor a player like Llenn. Using dead bodies as indestructible cover makes it impossible for any front-facing enemy to hit her. Hand-to-hand combat would also be more difficult for the opponent since she's less than half the height of the people she's fighting against. And apparently you can interact with literally any object in the game, so hiding is probably a lot easier. Now, I'm not saying that if Kirito and Llenn were to fight in a 1v1 that Llenn would win. Kirito would probably win easily, since he would just read the bullet lines and deflect the shots, even if they are from a fast-firing gun like the P90. And there's no way that Llenn would win in close quarters combat because of Kirito's natural godlike reflexes and inherent talent. I'm just saying that Llenn as a player would perform better not because of her gaming talent or anything like that, but because of what's essentially her in-game handicaps. What I mean by that is, if Kirito had a chibi avatar like Lenn's and had those speed and agility stats, then BOB would have been done in 5 minutes. This man would just chase down every person on the radar and they'd be back in the lobby before they even knew they were dead. Snipers wouldn't be able to hit him, campers wouldn't see him coming, it'd just be a massacre. But he doesn't. Which is why I think that a high-skilled player like M, who has proper game knowledge and doesn't require a bullet line to snipe, would be able to easily take down Kirito. Whereas when up against someone like Llenn, if he wasn't able to kill on the first shot, then she'd just close the gap and spray him down. I mean, it's not like Llenn had any personal skill. She would just run fast and get close enough where it'd be impossible to miss. Her game knowledge was decent, but overall it's not like she could just pick up any gun and start scoping people like Pito did. Which brings me to game knowledge. At some point in any game, you'll reach a skill cap, where the only way you can further improve your game is by fully understanding the fundamentals and mechanics. Knowing who to engage, when to engage, and how to engage are all crucial skills in any shooter. And if you're playing a battle royale, then you have to consider these even more, because you can easily be surrounded on all fronts at any point. Then there's positioning, resource management, map awareness, and a whole bunch of other things that newcomers often overlook. A good scene that highlights the importance of this is M from episode 1. This scene had me thinking that they were taking a more realistic approach to how skilled gamers approach certain situations, like sending out the squad leader as both bait and a distraction to not only determine the types of weapons that they had, but also have them give away their position and focus on a completely unimportant part of the map, then choosing not to engage the easy kills but rather determine the location and formation of the other team, then choosing not to engage yet again because eliminating only one person out of a 6-person squad would not be worth giving away your location and having them focus on you now. Emma and Team TS are the only people who played like gamers in a competitive tournament actually would. Pito sort of does as well, but choosing to engage in a 1 versus 16 is a bit ambitious. That's like playing 50v50 in Fortnite and dropping tilted towers when it's in the enemy's half. It's doable, but you gotta be facing absolute potatoes or people without thumbs to come out of that unscathed. In real life, a tournament like this would be a lot more campy, and a lot of teams would just camp out on the border wall or in some remote area like Team TS did and wait till the very last moment to strike. Unless you were absolutely confident in your superior skill, like Global Elite going against some Gold Novas, then I can see this game being played a lot more cautiously. And when I say cautious, I don't mean standing in the middle of the open in a circular formation waiting to get hexa-killed. So the reason why I'm even talking about this is because Llenn had very little game knowledge when she won the first squad jam. And in the second, although she was more skilled, it definitely wasn't on par with M's. And to top that off, she was partnered with someone who had no game knowledge whatsoever. So we're at this point where skilled players with decent game knowledge are being trumped by unskilled players with little game knowledge. That should almost never happen. It just goes to highlight how much more OP Llenn is in GGO. Kirito on the other hand had significant game knowledge, and he had the skill, but those were all worked towards. Llenn was just kind of lucky a lot of the time. Now, I'd love to go into each combat scene and deconstruct it from an avid FPS player's perspective, but that's not what this video is about. I could go on and on about the numbers advantages, the tactics behind certain plays, the impractical use of dual rocket launches as your primary, but I'm just here to talk about a fun show and make random points comparing two strong characters. So overall, I think that the way Llenn has been blessed in GGO makes her more broken than Kirito ever was. Do you guys agree? Let me know what you think in the comments below, but that's where I'm going to end off. If you guys like this, maybe I'll make another GGO video somewhere down the line, since it was a fun show to watch, and I do enjoy this type of anime. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So until next time, ciao!